Salvete. I'm going to say just a few words about adverbs here. A couple examples here. Really, their adverbs are pretty simple. They don't have a bunch of declensional endings because they don't modify or describe nouns. They describe verbs, and verbs don't have cases. So you don't need to have cases for adverbs. Adverbs are usually built on adjectives, or they have a corresponding adjective, and they're formed fairly simply. So if you have like an adjective, laetus, right? Laetus could have a whole bunch of different forms depending on if it's masculine or feminine or singular or plural or nominative or accusative. But for the adverb, any first or second declension adjective like laetus, and by the way, in the dictionary they would do it like this. They would say laetus, laeta, laetum, which shows you it's a first or second. Laetus, laeta, laetum. And that's the masculine, that's the feminine, and that's the neuter. Let me show you on my little dictionary explanation page here how this works. Right here. Okay. Adjectives in the dictionary are written masculine, nominative, feminine, nominative, neuter. So just like that. Bonus, bona, bonum means good. That's a second, or a first or a second, I should say. First and second declension adjective. Celer would be celer, celeris, celere. And that's a third declension adjective, like I just talked about a little bit ago. All these endings in all the cases would follow first and second declensions. Second if it's masculine, first if it's feminine, celer, celeris, celere. All these forms would follow the third declension. So laetus, laeta, laetum looks like bonus, bona, bonum. So that's a first and second declension adjective, means happy. And your adverb, if you want to say he did something happily, in English we add ly. Well, in Latin you just go like this. Laete. That us becomes an e. Laete. And so that's how you know that that's an ablative. I mean, not ablative, sorry, an adverb. Okay? And that would happen with all kinds of, you know, all your first and second declension adjectives, they would change to that. Okay? If it's a, if it's celer, you know, third declension, celer, celeris, celere, okay? Those are the masculine, feminine, and neuter forms. That's how it would look in the dictionary. It's going to have not the ending e, but it's going to have iter. You're going to say celeriter. Okay? So celeriter. So you might remember when we would do TPR, when I would give you commands in Latin, I might say ambula, you know, walk, and I would say ambula lente, right? Lente. Well, lente is the adverb form of lentus, which means slow. Lente means slowly. Walk slowly. Ambula lente. And then I'd say ambula celeriter. So walk quickly. So iter and e are both adverb endings. It's just this is for a third declension and this is for a second and first declension adjective. And there's a couple other notes that your book gives you here. Here's what I just explained right here. Okay, they use fortis, fortiter, laetus, laete. And they say also some other notes. The comparative form of adverbs is the same as the neuter nominative singular of comparative adjectives. Okay, well, what they mean here is, if you want to say more happily, what they call the comparative, it's laetius. And in the adjective, notice that's the masculine, that's the feminine, that's the neuter. Okay, so it's laetius. Ius is the ending for it if it's more, like more happily. So laete happily, laetius more happily. And then the superlative form, if you say really, very happily, it's laetissime. And it's just the same as how it'd be laete. That us gets replaced with an e. Laetissime. And it's the superlative. Here's the adjective, laetissimus. There's the adverb, laetissime, very happily. Now, as always, there's a few irregulars, especially words that get used frequently. So instead of, you don't say bonus doesn't turn to bone, it's bene, if it's well. Okay, so, oh, bene fecisti, you did that well, bene. And then melius and optime. Notice this is just like optimus, but optime. Male, peius, pessime. This one's kind of a funny one because it's really magno opere, with great effort or work, opere. So it becomes maniopere. That's where that comes from. It's kind of like two words that got sandwiched as one. And magus and maxime. Paulum, minus and minime. And multum plus and plurimum. So these are just some irregular forms of adverbs. And there's a couple other things here. It says comparative forms of both adjectives and adverbs are sometimes used with the meaning to, meaning to medicus tardius advenit. So this is, more late. The doctor came more late, but what it means is too late. Okay, like rather late, too late, rather late. Superlative forms are sometimes used with quam to make it as much as possible. Okay, so quam celerime advenit, he arrived as quickly as possible. Quam celerime. So use superlative there. Quam celerime. And that'll do it for adjectives. Remember, you can find all this stuff in FAR also, or in any, there it is, or in any Latin grammar that's a good grammar. I'll show you real quick. And in FAR, it's going to be a lot more expanded. In FAR, your adjectives would start on page 15 of the grammatical appendix here, and you see you got bonus. Everybody likes bonus. And it's going to be quite a bit more expanded. There's going to be more forms and exceptions and things like that than the Cambridge book showed you. So if you're thirsty for more, here you go. Go crazy. Okay, walete.